Secrets of creation. The account of Ezekiel's chariot form one major branch of early Jewish mysticism. The other branch was Mircea Bereshiet, the account of creation or cosmology. The most important text concerning these secrets was Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Creation, composed apparently in Palestine sometime between the 3rd and 6th centuries. Here we are told how God created the world by means of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet and the 10 Sephirah, a term that appears for the first time in Hebrew literature. Genesis and Psalms had already indicated that divine speech was the tool of creation. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. By the word of God, the heavens were made. By the breath of his mouth, all their hosts. Genesis 1 1. Psalms 33:6. What is new in Sefer Yetzirah is the detailed speculation of how God combined the individual letters as well as the idea of the Sephirah, which in this text are numerical entities, living beings embodying the numbers 1 through 10, ciphers, metaphysical potencies through which creation unfolds. The notion that numbers are essential to the structure of the cosmos derives from Pythagorean mysticism. Gradually, however, the Sephirah evolved into something more, becoming the central symbol system of Kabbalah. The Zohar. Based on these earliest traditions, Kabbalah emerged in its own right in the fertile region of Provence toward the end of the 12th century. Here, a variegated Jewish community flourished, a center of learning that encompassed rabbinic law, philosophy, and mysticism. Sefer HaBahir, usually considered the first Kabbalistic text, was edited here. Ironically, although Bahir means bright or clear, this small book of unimaginable, obscure, and often impenetrable collection of esoteric fragments. In it, the Sephirah now appear as lights, powers, and attributes, similar to the divine potencies described in Gnostic literature. They represent stages of God's inner life, aspects of the divine personality. There is no unified scheme. The Sephirah are described as various and conflicting ways. The Sephirah is described in various and conflicting ways. Over the next 100 years, as Kabbalah spread over the Pyrenees into Catalonia and then to Castile, the symbolic system crystallized. Elements of Neoplatonic mysticism were incorporated, as well as speculations on the origin of evil. Around the year 1280, the Spanish Jewish mystic named Moses de Leon began circulating booklets to his fellow Kabbalists written in lyrical Aramaic. They were replete with noun words, arcane symbolism, and erotic imagery. The tales and teachings were esoteric yet enchanting. Moses claimed that he was merely the scribe, copying from an ancient book of wisdom. The original had supposedly been composed in the circle of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, a famous disciple of Rabbi Akiva who lived and taught in the 2nd century in the land of Israel. These booklets were the first installments of an immense work, Sefer HaZohar, the Book of Radiance. De Leon's claim was widely accepted, and the Zohar's ostensible pedigree helped promote the young Kabbalistic movement. Few dared to challenge the ancient teachings of Shimon Bar Yochai and the Ha-Reya, his mystical companions. The Zohar gradually became Ha-Zohar, Ha-Kodosh, the Holy Zohar, and canonical texts of Kabbalah, and most subsequent Kabbalah was based on its teachings. Only in relatively recent times was Moses de Leon's actual role in the Zohar's generation become more clear. More than a scribe, de Leon was the composer of the Zohar. He drew on earlier material. He may have collaborated with other Kabbalists, and he may have genuinely believed that he was transmitting ancient teachings. Indeed, parts of the Zohar may have been composed through automatic writing, a technique in which the mystic would meditate on a divine name, enter a trance, and begin to write whatever came to his head. Such a technique was reportedly used by other 13th century Kabbalists, but Moses de Leon wove his various sources into a masterpiece of commentary on the Torah in the form of a mystical novel. Rabbi Shimon and the Ha-Reya wandered through Galilee, exchanging Kabbalistic insights. On one level, biblical heroes such as Abraham and Moses are the protagonists, and the rabbis interpret their words, actions, and personalities. The text of the Torah is simply the starting point, a springboard for the imagination. At times, the commentators become the main characters, and we read about dramatic mystical sessions with Rabbi Shimon, or about the companions encountered with strange characters on the road, such as an old donkey driver who turns out to be a master of wisdom in disguise. The Sephara. The plot of the Zohar focuses ultimately on the Sephara by penetrating the literal surface of the Torah. The mystical commentators transform the biblical narrative into a biography of God. The entire Torah is read as a divine name, expressing divine being. Even a seemingly insignificant verse can reveal the inner dynamics of the Sephara, how God feels, responds, and acts, how she and he relate intimately with each other and with the world. The opening chapter of Genesis appears to describe the creation of the world, but it alludes to a more primal beginning, the emanation of the Sephara, their emergence from the infinite, or Ein Sof, literally endless. In contrast to the personal God of the Sephara, Ein Sof represents the radical transcendence of God. Not much more than its name can be said. Here, the Jewish mystics adopt the negative theology of Maimonides, who had taught the description of God by means of negations is the correct description, a description that is not affected by an indulgence in facile language. With every increase in the negations regarding God, you come nearer to the apprehension of God. The first Sephara shares the negative nature of Ein Sof and is sometimes referred to as yin, nothingness. As one Kabbalist puts it, a yin is more existent than all the being of the world. But since it is simple and every simple thing is complex compared to its simplicity, it is called a yin. In this primal state, God is undifferentiated being. Neither this nor that, no nothingness. The first Sephara is more commonly called Keter, crowned. Keter, and that's the crown. It is the crown of the head of Adam Kadmon, primordial Adam. According to the opening chapter of Genesis, the human being is created in the image of God. The Sephara constitute the divine archetype of that image. the mystical paragon of the human being, our original nature. Another depiction of the Sapphira is that out of cosmic tree growing downward from its roots above, from Keter, the root of roots. Out of the depths of nothingness shines the premortal point of Kukma, wisdom, the second Sapphira. This point expands into a circle, the Sapphira of Bina. Understanding Bina is the womb, the divine mother, receiving the seed, the point of Kukma. She conceives the seven Lord Sapphira. Created being, too, has its source in her. She is the totality of all individuation. These three highest Sephiras, Keter, Kukma, and Bina, represents the head of the divine body and are considered more hidden than the offspring of Bina. She gives birth first to Hesed, love, and Jivara, power, also known as Din, judgment. Hesed and Jivara are the right and left arms of God, two poles of the divine personality, free flowing love and strict judgment, grace and limitation. For the world to function properly, both are essential. Ideally, a balance is achieved, symbolized by the central sapphire, Tiferet, beauty, also called Rahamin, compassion. If judgment is not softened by love, it lashes out and threatens to destroy life. Here lies the origin of evil, called Sitra Ara, the other side. From a more radical perspective, evil originates in divine thought, which eliminates waste before emanating goodness. The demonic is rooted in the divine. Tiferet